Okay, okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have been struggling to go live. I don't know what happened to YouTube today, but I've been struggling to go live. The first link I created, I even had to delete it in order to create this one now that I finally was able to go live with. But that is not the concentration of this talk today. So yeah, even though we are late because of I don't know, technology is crazy. Anyway, so even though all those happen, but then we are finally live, and today is the last day of this YouTube live, and I'm pretty excited at how far we've come. Pretty excited at how far we've come. Um, the people we've been able to interact with. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm happy that a number of you are applying for your scholarships. I'm really happy about that, and I'm also really excited at the collaboration I recently initiated, where I am looking at collaborating with different content creators around Africa, especially content creators around that are focused on education and other opportunities, postgraduate opportunities in particular. So I'm really excited about that. Hi Salisu, it's good to have you back again. I remember your name. So I'm really excited about that. And in today's video, I want to talk about what's it called? Test English, not just English, but language test, and also try to, look at SOP a little bit, and then I'm going to be answering your questions. So if you have your questions, please go ahead and drop your questions. And yeah, we'll just continue with that. So, talking about language test. So, a good number of Erasmus programs require that you are fluent in English. I think at least at is it a B3 or a C1? I am not exactly sure, but I think different programs with their different level requirements. But they require that you are able to communicate and communicate in English, use your English very well. And then there are also a few programs that would require you to have other language certificates. So yesterday I was during my live video yesterday with a content creator from Kenya who is the Erasmus Mundus Association Kenya country representative. We found out that one of the Erasmus programs, Winter, I think that's what it's called. I think that's how it's pronounced, requires that they have certain language certificates like Spanish or some other language too. So, I know a lot of you would be concerned about this and some of the certificates, especially for test of English that is really, really expensive. Like, yeah. So this is my advice. Some Erasmus programs would allow you to prove that you were actually taught in English. And to prove this, sometimes they would require that you get a confirmation from your university. It could be a letter, it could be an attestation, whatever it is from your university to prove this. So I think you could do that for those universities that are willing to offer you a waiver. I know for the University of Glasgow, I was offered a waiver because I'm Nigerian. I was taught in English basically all my life. Yeah. So I was taught in English, and the University of Glasgow requires that I submit WAEC. So if you're from West Africa, you should be conversant with WAEC. So they require that I submitted my WAEC result, and I should have nothing less than C6 in my WAEC. And I think I had a is it C4 or C5 in my WAEC for English? I think that's what I had, and so it was fine. And then the second requirement, second thing they required from me was to download. There's a document, English test waiver document on the University of Glasgow's website. I downloaded it and then sent it to my registrar, my undergraduate university registrar, and then he filled it and signed it as a confirmation that I was taught in English. And so, yeah, that was basically enough, and that was what was just accepted for me, and it was just waived for me. So I didn't have to bother with test of English. So for other universities, I know some people who got just a letter from their university and all that. So one thing I would advise is that you check out with your university what is applicable. Do they have a template that you would download and send to your school, or would they just require you to just get a letter of attestation from your university and submit to them? So you need to confirm this, and you also need to check if your school offers a waiver. A good number of schools do offer waivers, and I think you can ask for that, explaining that you were taught in English, blah blah blah, and all that. If you could get a confirmation. Another thing is, you cannot be asking for a waiver. Let's say you are sending an email, you're asking for a waiver, and your English is bad. Hmm? See, you can speak bad English, like maybe your punch, you are making some grammatical blunders. Maybe when you're speaking as but you can't be sending them email asking for a test of English waiver, and you're making a whole blunder out of it in the email. So it sends a wrong signal. So I would advise that when you're sending these emails, after writing it, copy it, use Grammarly, put it on Grammarly, and then Grammarly would refine it for you. Make some changes and suggestions that you could adapt to your email letter. Just adapt it and make sure that your punctuations and all that are on point, so that you don't just go and send something that when the person is reading it, you'll be like, is it this person want to give test of English waiver? Do you grab that kind of something? So you just put a doubt in the person's mind. So yeah, you can do that. Now, for those other courses that would require other um test waivers, language tests, that would require other language tests as a requirement for you to get on the program. It's really difficult, especially if one of your semesters would be taught in that language, let's say Spanish or French. I usually do not advise people to take those programs, to go ahead with applying for those programs, except you are already at a B1 level in those program in that language, except you are able to fluently, at least at the intermediate level, communicate with that language, because it's difficult. See, Erasmus is not easy. Number one, you're going to be moving from one country to the other. Number two, the academic work is so much, like it's so much. And so being taught in a different language than you have always known, or you were brought up in, or language that you speak, would complicate issues for you. So it would definitely complicate issues for you. So by the time you are applying and you see that one of the semesters would be taught in maybe French or English, you I wouldn't advise you to go ahead if you are not at least at an intermediate level. The thing is, okay, you can be really eager to learn and all that, but how sure are you that you will be able to grasp at an intermediate level before that semester? Let's say it's your second semester. Before you get to second semester, how sure are you that you get to an intermediate level before your second semester, that you will be taught in French? So you need to be really careful when you're applying to these scholarships, then, or maybe accept you will use this time to start learning French and all that. Accept that, but if you're not going to be doing any of this, I wouldn't advise you to go ahead with applying to these programs, because it's going to be really difficult and it will frustrate the hell out of you. Imagine being an Hausa person, and then you're taught in Igbo. If you're Nigerians, you would understand this. It's going to be crazy, because you're like, what the heck is going on here? You would not really catch up. Even though as a smart student, it would be really, really difficult for you, even as a smart student, because you have stress of traveling, you have stress of reading, and the work is so much. And then you want to add the stress of learning in a different language. I think if you're not preparing to start learning the language from your home country before you leave, or if you are not at the moment, at least at a B1, I would not advise you to go ahead with applying with any program that would make you study in a different language than the language you have always known. It's really difficult. It will be bloody. I would advise that you pick a different language, a different program, and apply to. There's different roads to this Jerusalem. Anyway, so now let me look at some of the questions you're asking. Can I rewrite one SOP for three different related programs? Is it not going to be like plagiarism? So the thing is, like I always tell people, I someone has always messaged me, be like, can I use the same CV for the same program? Can I use the same SOP? Can I use the same CV for different programs? Can I use the same CV, the same SOP for different programs? The answer is you cannot use the same SOP for different programs. But like you have stated here, Salisu, you have stated that rewrite it. Yeah, so you can rewrite your SOP. You can rewrite it to suit the program. We call it like for you to tweak it, so you can always tweak your SOP to fit the program you're applying to. So I don't think it would be like plagiarism, so long as you have tweaked it and had some things rephrased. I don't think it would be like plagiarism. And also, if you use Grammarly, I think, I don't know if free Grammarly has that access to some plagiarism tests, because me, I use premium, Grammarly premium, so I have access to their plagiarism test. Though it's not a strong plagiarism test, but I don't know if the free one has access to that. I don't know, but if it has access to it, you can check the plagiarism. What's it called? Plagiarism or similarity index. I think that's what it's called. So you can check it on Grammarly. But I don't think Grammarly has it though. But you can try. And but then if you're able to retweak it, rephrase your SOPs and all that, I don't think it will come out as as a plagiarized work. I don't think so. But yeah, you can actually rephrase it, rewrite it, just like you've said. So all the programs, no matter how related they are. So like my program now is international masters in security, intelligence, and strategic studies, and there's another masters in I think it's international is it international law, something, international masters in law, development, security, and something something. But it's a related course. The difference is that the the law own, because it's an LLM, I think it's an LLM. So the law own is heavily the other one is heavily reliant on law. And even one of the second semester universities that you can choose from requires that you have and is it LLB that they call it? Yeah. So requires that you have law. One of the, I think the one going to Barcelona. So these courses are quite related. This one is more about international law of security and development and peace. This one is about security, intelligence, and strategic. So they are quite related, but they're not the same thing. I can my SOP that I used for my security, intelligence, and strategic studies, I can retweak it. I can tweak it to fit the the one for the law and all that. Yeah, I can actually tweak it. There's a way you would write it, because it's not the same thing. The courses that are doing is not the same thing. The main focus is not the same. So some of those courses that I talked about in my SOP for my current program, I could change them to fit this other program. There are different things because the focuses are different. This one is more on law. This one is more on practical security and intelligence. So yeah, they're actually different. So you have to retweak it at all points, including your CV. You can't just say you're just submitting the same CV like that. You just submit it. No, always try to tweak your CV to fit the program you're applying to. You always just have to do that. Sometimes they're just little minor changes and all that, but at all point, don't just submit any CV like that. Okay, I have a CV, just submit it. No, always tweak it. Okay, so the next question is from Lon. Hope that's how your name is pronounced. If it is not, apologies. Hi, Jennifer. Do you think I can apply without test of English, since the COVID situation is quite serious here and they can't take the test until next year? So it depends on your program. So it depends on the program you're applying for. For me, I didn't have to. It's not even because of the COVID that I didn't have to, but because I am from Nigeria, and we they accept certain certificates from Nigeria and certain attestation. So I didn't have to do that. But for you, who is, I don't know the country you're from, but I know that test of English is expensive. At least I know when you convert it to my local currency, the naira, I know that it is expensive, and a lot of young people might not be able to afford it. So one thing I always advise is the school might set out its requirement and all that, and most of the schools have made adjustments to these requirements made adjustments to this requirement, including embassies. And what they had to do is include some other tests, online tests that you could take, such as Duolingo. I know about Duolingo. I took Duolingo when I wanted to go to Dublin. It was not a school requirement, it was an embassy requirement for me to get visa. So I took Duolingo. I know some schools are increasingly accepting Duolingo because you don't have to leave your home to write the test. Just have a computer that has a camera, and you just sit there. You practice everything you have to practice, and you write it. My Duolingo, I registered for it. I practiced today. I registered for it, practiced today, and wrote it the next day. And that was it. And I scored high. So the thing is, contact your university for those schools that are still hell bent on writing, getting test of English from you. Contact them. Tell them the situation of COVID in your home country or even in your locality where you are. This is the situation. Maybe we've gone on another lockdown. We are not allowed. And as a result of that, my income has reduced because a lot of people lost their jobs and all that. And you can't even afford it, and the one you're able to afford is Duolingo because it's like, I think when I wrote it was 30 something dollars or so. That is way cheap compared to the other ones then. So you could tell them, as a result of this, this is what I can immediately take at the moment, especially because I do not need to leave my home. It is online. I can just take it here, do the test, and also it is affordable for me compared to for those people who were not lucky enough to keep their jobs because they had to relieve them of jobs and all that. You could say because you were relieved of your job and so you can't afford it because these tests of English are damn expensive, to be honest. So you could tell them that, or even depending on how much you earn as your income, if you might possibly maybe need to show evidence of that. I don't know. You could tell them if you compare this the income you earn with how much maybe TOEFL or what's the other one? How much it is? I've forgotten the other one. How much it costs? It's way above your income and way above what you can afford. Ask them if they could consider this, given your income, COVID situation, and a whole lot of that. And one thing I know is a lot of schools are really what are really considerate. If you need to, if maybe your income is way lower than what you need to use in writing test of English, like TOEFL, or what's the other one, sef, IELTS. Is it IELTS they call it, or I call it IELTS. So because it's expensive, your income is way lower than that. Because I know, yeah, for Nigerians, minimum wage, if you're any minimum wage, you can't. It will take you maybe close to even more than 5 months to be able to save money to be able to write that test. So if you earn minimum wage, so you can use this evidence and tell them you can't afford it and all that. And a lot of schools can be really considerate in terms of that. You have evidence to prove this and a whole lot of that. And yeah, so they might be willing to allow you write a cheaper one, which is like Duolingo. Yeah. So I think when I don't know if the price has actually increased, but yeah, when I wrote, yeah. So, but then most of the programs, if they really require it, they might not give you a waiver. If it is a school that is not giving waiver, they might just, try to ask if you could get anyone that is the price is cheaper or something. I don't know, but just ask them. You need to always email anything you don't really get. You can email the consortium and find that. Then I've talked a lot on that. Then Ayobami asked English test waiver. No wonder I got a conditional offer last year. Now I know. But I did send in a university test waiver I got in 2014. Shouldn't that have been considered? Now, another thing is, I don't think it is really appropriate to I could be wrong, but I don't think it's appropriate to submit later that was from 2014 for a 2020. Is it 2020 or 20? Yeah, we're in 2020 or for a 2020 application. That's like 6 years ago. It's like submitting a reference letter from 2014. Like it does not really gel. Do you grab? Like I wouldn't say that was the reason, but 2014 is like really, really far. So you could I don't know, but if you could get a more recent later, and yeah, your test of English, you just submitted one from your university. I guess this is from your university in 2014. So I don't think it's really that cool. I don't think it's really that cool. So you should check if your school or it has a template. If they do have a template, you download that template that the school has, and send it to your university. They do everything they need to do on it, and then you upload it back. So just like, I think 2014 is too much of a long time to submit a letter that I feel is, for me, that's what I feel. But I could be wrong, but I actually do feel like it's too long, just like reference letters and all that. So I think next time, reference letters or whatever, you should always try to get an up to date letter. But for this test waiver, ensure that your university does not have a template before you can get this other one that is just straight from the school. But if they have a template, just go with the template they have. At this point, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. I beg in the name of God. You can also share this live stream. Please subscribe to my channel. I need to blow in this ministry. This ministry is moving to permanent site. So now on to the next question by uh God, I don't want to pronounce this name wrongly. I hope it's okay. I think it's French. So Jean. Okay, I think it's French. So it's Jean. The name Jean Claude. Jean Claude. Hope, please, if it is not correct, apologies. So Jean Claude says, "Hello, I have gotten 68% in bachelor studies. I am qualified for Erasmus and all that. 68%. Sorry. So 68% sounds like a good score, because if it is based on the calculation that I know, which is Nigerian standard, and UK and Europe island standard, 68% is a good one. I think it's a B. I think it's a B plus also, because 68, 70 moves to an A. So if it is based on this calculation, I don't know how yours is calculated. If it is based on this calculation, this one that I know, I think you're really good. That's like a two. That's like a 2-1 rather. Yeah, a high 2-1. So you're good to go. Yeah. So yeah, you should go ahead and apply. Yeah, you're really qualified. Including even when you have a 2-2, that's a second class lower, you're also go ahead and apply. Some programs would require that with a second class lower, you should have a relevant work experience, or you must have taken a postgraduate diploma studies, or some other relevant courses or experiences and all that. Just apply, and yeah, don't limit yourself, apply. So because yeah, even yesterday during my live video with Kenyans, I know some people were asking, should I apply, is this Erasmus really for me? We're seeing that most of them are first class and all that. Should we apply? My brother, my sister in the Lord, go ahead and apply. See, don't let other people's strengths make you think that you are not qualified. You see, don't let it. There are people from Nigeria who got 2-2 and they were qualified. So if you have a 2-2, go ahead, look at the requirements and all that, and go ahead and apply. Don't, because maybe you're applying with your friends and all your friends have first class and you have second class lower. Don't, because of that, I say you're not applying. No, go ahead and apply. Apply for it. You still have time. Some of the applications are closing January and closing February. What I would say is you should try to upgrade yourself, take some MOOC courses, like from Coursera, from is it EduX or something like that. I've forgotten. Yeah, from Coursera, and a whole lot of it. They have a lot. Even the United Nations have MOOC courses. The United Nations, is it university or something like that? Yeah, they have MOOC courses. Different universities and all that, they come together, they have MOOC courses. I think is it edX or something, Coursera. They have a lot of them. Even Future Learn is also another platform. They have MOOC courses that you can benefit from. if maybe you had a tutu and you're feeling you're not good enough and all that, you can go and take these courses. If you're just joining us, please subscribe to my channel. Back to the matter. You can go and take these courses. Somebody have corrected, it says EDS. My dear, I think so, but I don't know. It's been long. I checked that channel, I've forgotten. Thank you, Favor. So you can go ahead and take those courses if you have, if maybe you think you don't have relevant work experience, but then Erasmus most times do not require that you have one massive experience. It could be leadership experience. You served as a president of student union, you did this, did that. Those are part of the experience. Erasmus is about intercultural experience. So it has a lot to do with social mobility, social interaction and all that. It's not just academic. So if you have these experiences, you were doing, for those of you from Nigeria, you were doing aluta continua, you were doing great bobo, great baba, all those things they usually do in undergraduate, not just undergraduate but universities and all that. It is a relevant experience. See, oh God, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it. Me, as I was once a vice president of our student union, and then I became president. As a vice president, I single-handedly organized dinner. I single-handedly organized dinner. And even as a president, I also led the team that organized the dinner, because and that was useful. Do you know what it means to organize dinner for student union? That's a massive body, and you organize dinner, ensure that things are in place and it came out well and all that. That's organizational skills you got. And also as a president, that was people management skills that I got. Like it's really relevant. So in Erasmus, as you're moving around, Erasmus is about social mobility. That's the first thing first. It's about social mobility, interaction, and immersions into different cultures and all that. These things are relevant because you have been in that space, you have dominated place. Even in your churches or your religious group, you were sisters called, you were financial manager, you did this, you did that. Those are relevant skills. I don't know why people don't like talking about these things then. These are relevant. Some of you just think these things are not. These are life skills that will live with you. Imagine being a sisters coordinator. As I think for those people who are Christians, you would understand this. During your undergraduate, you're a sisters coordinator. This is a massive skill. You coordinated all the females in your fellowship. You were the first person they would come to. You were the person doing this, doing that, all the sisters. Sometimes you put over 100 sisters. Do you know what it means? That's a social mobility skill. Do you know it's a social interaction, is it interaction skills or something like that? But that's a massive skill. Some of you don't kind of rate these things, and these your experiences. Some of you don't rate it. It's a better experience. Let me just tell you, it's a good experience. So yeah, those your experiences, try to always bring them to light. Try to always bring them. They are really important. So as much as your education, your academic grades are, important, these other parts of it are equally important. So anyways, um if you have a tutu, go ahead. You still have time to apply for internships and volunteering opportunities. If your program is ending in December or February, you have an opportunity. Find a relevant institution to go and volunteer with. And since you already started, you can put it in your CV and start working with them already. If you got an offer for later, let's say you have an offer from March to August for to do an internship with maybe another organization, you can also put it there and say you have in your CV and state that you have this opportunity so and so to work with an organization for this time. Like for me at this point in time, I have an offer with a research institution in Germany to do a placement with them, to work for them for 3 months from March until May, start of March to end of May. This thing is in my CV already. I got it, signed agreement. It's like I already have everything. So it's there. It's already in my CV. So these are just I'm just giving you insight, sha. Well, I hope you understand. If you're just joining us, please subscribe to my channel. Please. Then hello, Jennifer. As I would like to ask, should my reference letters preferably be typed or written by hand? I would say that the world has graduated. A lot of people don't. There's really not so much people doing handwriting of letters. So for me, I would advise you that you should type it. But I don't also see anything wrong with handwriting. The only thing I would say is, people, the world has graduated and the world is moving forward. So we can as well just type it. Yeah, it wouldn't, it wouldn't give you stress. Just type it. Yeah, so the other question is from Ayobami is asking, I applied for IMSIS program in 2021, but I didn't get an admission. Is there any trick or thing I can do differently this year to get a yes? So, um, is you didn't get an admission? I would like to ask, um, what was the problem? Was your program, your undergraduate bachelor's, not relevant, or didn't you write a good SOP to do you grab was your undergraduate program not relevant? Was it your SOP? Was it your CV? Or what exactly do you think was the problem? Um yeah, try to clarify that. But I think if your undergraduate program is relevant, you can apply and just write a good SOP and you'll be good to go. Okay, so what is the trick to get in? Before I go on, hi Fahabsat. Sorry if your name is spelled wrongly. Sorry. Hi, it's nice to have you here. So back to Ayobami. What's the trick to get in? I think you have to make sure that your undergraduate program is relevant. If it is not relevant, you need to give a good reason why you are switching. Why exactly are you switching from the program you did in your bachelor's to this program right now? So you have to give a convincing reason. Not You can't just give reasons like I picked up a new interest. Nah, it doesn't make sense. Once again, subscribe to my channel. So it doesn't make sense. So you have to give a convincing reason why. So you have to tell that why. So let me also, I think at this point I should speak a bit about SOPs and all that. Let me check for where's my SOP? Okay, so I think I should speak a bit about SOP. Let this thing load. So yeah, I talked about this last night with my Kenyan viewers, and so I think it's important I still, highlight it here this morning. Highlight it once again this morning. So, wherever you're viewing from, good morning, good afternoon, good early morning, good everything. So, I would like to say that there are three questions you need to address while writing your personal statement. Especially, for one, you need to answer what is your motivation for your main motivation for applying for the program, and you also need to answer to show how your educational background and how your work experience or leadership experience, like your experience in general, it could be work experience, it could be leadership experience, how it would inform your engagement with the program. So your educational background, you can talk about how you took some courses that are more like a foundation to some of the courses that IMSIS that maybe the program you're applying to, or maybe my own program, for example, like IMSIS, like the courses that they will be taking, maybe first semester or second semester. You talk about how it is relevant or how it is like a foundation to some of those courses. Then that would show that okay, you have a basic knowledge and all that. Now your work experience or your leadership experience, you can talk about it and how it is relevant. For me, I talked about, my organizational skills and how it was relevant in and how it would be really important in maybe carrying out some of the IMSIS activities. And that's my program. I gained good what's it called? I gained good skills in organization, especially events and human management and all that. And so I had to talk about how it would be important and useful. And at this point in time, yeah, I'm utilizing those skills. I am the Erasmus Mundus Association IMSIS program representative. And yeah, it's been really useful and all that. So you need to also talk about maybe your work experience. You've worked in a similar field. Let's say you were a cybersecurity analyst and all that. And yeah, we are doing, I'm currently doing a cybersecurity course and all that. So yeah, you show how it is relevant and blah, 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 or investigation. Or if you have skills, I'm just talking about particularly my program now, or if you're applying for my program and you have skills around OSINT, that's open source intelligence analysis, you can talk about how it will be relevant and all that. Yeah. So that is it. So for people from other programs, you can also find out some of those skills that you have, your background courses that you took, and how it is relevant to your own program. And just talk about those things. Then just be original and talk about it. Then another question you also need to answer is, how will this program support your future career? Your future career, what are you looking to do in the future? So now you can't, you have to explicitly, I hope that grammar is correct, explicitly show how the program will impact your future. Don't go and be telling them it will be a stepping stone. Don't tell them that. Which one is stepping stone? All those things that no, you have to go straight to the point. You have to be specific, articulate, just say it, what you want to do. And that whatever you are going forward to go and do must be relevant to the program. And aside that, it must also have a link to your background, your experience. That's your background experience, which could be the course you studied, which could be your work experience or your leadership experience. So you have to, it has to have a link. Now, um if let's say if maybe what you were doing, your experience before, is not what you want to continue, you have to give a reason why you need to move. You have to give a reason, you need to convince them and all that. Like for me, I talked about future plans of moving into mediation and all that. You grab. And prior to that time, I was already, I had a team and we're building a peace organization focused on young people and all that. There was a team and I was leading the team and we were working. We still have a team. We're still working. And there was a link. I studied international relations and strategic studies for my background program. I was working in the area of young people and peace and all that, especially as it has to do with online extremism and, mobilizing young people as strategic pillars of peace in their communities and all that. And yeah, it had a lot to do with security intelligence and strategic studies. It had a lot to do with it. And I went ahead to talk about, moving into the mediation space and all that in the future. And, the security intelligence and strategic studies course has a lot to do with mediation and a whole lot of that. So there's kind of like a link and it's just flowing and it's just going. So if maybe what you did in your background is not what you want to continue in the future, you have to give a reason, a convincing reason, not just a reason, not my interests have changed or my interests will change. You have to give a specific reason. You need to give a specific, a convincing reason. Don't give reason that even you yourself, somebody tells you that reason, you will doubt it. Don't give such reasons. Then be specific, be articulate, just go straight to the say it clearly how it should be said. And yeah, so in order to respond to these questions, these three questions that I talked about, it's important you give, like I already stated already, give strong reasons why you want to study the program at least at the different universities. Why do you want to study it? What is attractive about this program in the different universities? Then what is attractive? You need to find what is attractive about this program. You going to study this program in the different universities. You need to talk about that. Like for example, I talked about there's an institution, there's a platform called What Changers platform for the University of Glasgow. And the University of Glasgow has this place. It brings in young people that are doing good works in their different fields, and offer them some form of platform for them to grow their agendas. It could be mentoring, it could be some other things or access to some other things that they could use to grow their agenda. And so I talked about it and how that platform would be useful to me in growing the organization I was building with my team. It was really important. I also looked for something at Dublin City University and talked about how it would also be important. I also talked about Charles University, the school I'm currently in at now, how there's an institution, they have a research institution, and the institution is led by young people, like vibrant young people. And I talked about how I wanted to join that institution to get some, you know, research skills, especially because it was run by young people. And, I had some affinity with young people. Like I already told you earlier, I was building an organization with other young people that was focused on young people. And so getting skills, joining, it was really attractive to me to say, to find a research firm, because I'm really interested in research also, to find a research firm run by young people and are always eager to bring in other young people. So I talked about that. And interestingly, this institution that I talked about for Charles University is the institution I am currently interning with. Yeah. So somehow I got in and got an internship space with them. And it's not just because maybe I wrote them in my SOP that I wanted to, get to work with them and, be with them and all that. But somehow I worked towards it and I got a place with them to intern with them. So I was quite, it's not just something I was just saying. I was not just talking about it. It was something I was set out to do and I did it. And now I am currently interning with them. Like, it's not just now, these things that I'm just saying now, the reviewer will read through the lines and know whether what you're actually saying is achievable and how you can get it. So, like for me, I had a history. There's a history to it, and the history still lingers and up until this point in time. And see where I am at the moment. I told you about the research firm. I'm currently interning with them, and it's been a good experience so far. They're all young people, like vibrant people. So, anyways, let me not continue talking about that. But moving on, another thing you also need to include in your SOP is relevant projects, dissertations, events that you've attended, things like that. Dissertations. For me, I wrote a dissertation. No, it was not a dissertation. Project, undergraduate project. So undergraduate, they call it project. Yeah. So I wrote an undergraduate project on issue of conflict. It was on ethnic conflict and it was on the Nigerian Biafran civil war and the ethnic conflict that has lingered, and the what's it called, the reemergence of the continued agitation for a Biafran state and all that. So that's what my thesis was all about. My project, not thesis, my project was all about, and I did that work. And yeah, it was really relevant because it's on the issue of conflict, it's on the issue of security, it's on the issue of a whole lot of things that has to do with the program that I applied for. And so it was really relevant, and I had to make mention of the title of my project. I mentioned it, what I wrote in my undergraduate project. Now, moving on, another thing too that you have to talk about is other skills that you have. You remember when I talked about me organizing a student dinner and me being a vice president and ultimately becoming a president of a student union, where I had to talk about, you know, where I had to manage a body of executives because they were all students and all that, manage them, where I had to single handedly organize a dinner. Like I had those skills then. Like those, that was through that my leadership experience, I gained skills in terms of organization. Because if you are not quite skilled in that, it is difficult for you to single-handedly organize a student dinner, student week. You know how, especially if you're Nigerian, you know how Nigerian student week can be. You know how tough it can be and all of that. We did, there was part I was even in my set, was even the first time we did a beauty pageant and all that. There was a pageant, there was rally, there was dinner, there was a whole lot of things there. I even mobilized funds funds from postgraduate students and other students that have graduated. I even mobilized funds because the funds were not enough. I had to mobilize funds from postgraduate students that have graduated, from postgraduate students and other students that have graduated. I equally was able to mobilize funds from within my classmates, funds or edible items from my classmates just to hold this event. And it was successful. Like, it was a big deal. My colleagues would come to me, they were like, Jennifer, this is good and all. I single-handedly did it. And so if you're not really good with that, it would be difficult to have organization. If you're not good with organizational skills, it would be difficult to organize such. And so these were my strengths that I had to make pointer to. And I said, I did this, I did this, I did that. Now, I have a history. There are other things that I've done that when I say I did this, I did that, you can easily find the line and draw the link. So I had organizational skills, I had leadership and management and all that. I had to talk about it and how it could be useful in engaging with the program, maybe during other activities and all that. And of course, in terms of leadership and all that, and people management and all that, I'm serving as one of the program representatives, Erasmus Mundus Association program representatives. And you see, you can actually draw the line and you find what people have done before and you know how much they would put in the future, even as they continue on this program. I'm talking so much, but yeah, I'm really gingered this morning. Anyways, so another thing is draw on you need to draw on other experiences. For example, are you a member of any society? Have you written any papers or won any awards? You need to start talking about it. And now, hey, so some of you, me, during everything when I was leaving, I got the Student of the Year award. It was really important. Do you know what it means to get Student of the Year award? So I got the Student of the Year award, and it was really important. Like, all throughout that I've been in the university, I have been getting, academic awards, and all that throughout that I was in the university. But this Students of the Year award meant a lot to me, and yeah, I got it, and I had to talk about it even in my CV, like things that I did and blah blah blah, and eventually I won the Student of the Year award. Like, I had to talk about it. It was really important to me. Aside, I didn't need to mention you could mention it, but I didn't need to mention all the academic awards I won from my 100 level to my 400 level. That's from my first year to my last year. I didn't need to mention it for me because I had a first class, and I equally graduated as the best graduating student. I didn't have to mention all those what's it called, all those other academic awards, because those ones, the best graduating student just covered everything. I didn't have to mention. So, but I needed to mention Student of the Year award because it was too important to me. I don't know why. Like, it was too important to me. It was too important. Like, yeah, because I know how much I stressed out to do a lot of student things and all that. So I had to talk about. So I had a history. I was vice president. I was president. I did this. I did that, and all that. And so I had a history that led to becoming the Student of the Year, and seeing that and having me go through that, the reviewer could easily identify some of these things. You might not be the president or vice president, but you did something. Some of you are treasurers in your churches, and you think it is not in your fellowships or your other religious bodies. I know Muslims used to have something they call I think it's MSN. Hopefully that is correct. I think Muslims in Nigeria, their student association is MSN. I can't remember though, but yeah, I know my roommate then, she used to be something like a sister squad, but for Muslims. Forgotten the name. They call it Amira. Yeah, Amira. She used to be the Amira then and all that. So that's a good thing. If you were the Amira, do you know what that means? You need to talk about these experiences you have. Some of you used to think that it is not experience. I know someone was even asking me, is NYC work experience? And I'm like, did you go to go and play with 1 year? That's a mad 1 year work experience. You didn't go there to go and play. That's mad 1 year work experience. So yeah, I know too, someone was asking me about CWES. I think that's how it's pronounced, for I think mostly for science or engineering students in Nigeria. That's a mad work experience. You can put it as your internship or regular work experience. That's an experience. It's a work and it's an experience. You get it. Anyways, yeah, so you need to talk about these things. Talk about those of you that got prizes and scholarships. Some of you won shell scholarships as undergraduates, and you think it is not relevant. It is very relevant. Some of you won awards and some other things, then shell scholarships and all that. These are relevant skills. If you're just joining, please subscribe to my channel. Okay, back to it. Those of you who want some of these scholarships and all that, it could even be let's say which example now can I give? I'm looking for one example to give in this thing. It could even be some organizations support people to learn skills and all that. You want it, they said everybody apply, do this, do that, and you want it, you were the person that want it, maybe to learn how to code. That is like that. You want something, that's a prize, you want it, so it's important you make mention of it and all that. Then another thing is you also have to, okay, in addition to what I said previously, you also have to talk about societies you belong, maybe international affairs society or something like that. Yeah. So another thing is you need to highlight your career aspirations and show how the course will help you achieve them. So for me, I had to show how some of the courses that I needed to take, if I become a student, how it would help me achieve my goal of becoming a mediator. I told you that I talked about, ultimately transforming and becoming a mediator. So I talked about courses like, getting into the diplomatic space and all that, mediation and, international affairs and all that. So I talked about specific courses that I was really specific. There's a course we were to take in second semester, politics of the United Nations. And I have to talk about that course. I talked about it. I say, this course, politics of the United Nations, blah, 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 blah. I talked about it and how it would be really useful and all that. And interesting thing is, this politics of the United Nations course, I took it in Dublin and I got an A1 in that course. And that's the only course I've got an A1 in it so far. But I was really really happy, like an A1, not A2, A3, A4, A5, A1, gang gang. Do you know what it means? So it was really interesting. I talked about how that course would, help me in my career, would be useful in my career path and all that. And yeah, in that course, it was really interesting. It's like my best course I've had so far because we had to deliberate a lot of things like permanent seat for Africa in the United Nations Security Council. We had to deliberate. It's not for here though, but yeah, those were part of the things I did in the course and all that. Like I love the course massive, and I had to talk about it. Then, finally, one thing I would say that you should always highlight. One thing I would say that you should always highlight is, now there are people that are as qualified as you. I was not the only first class. As a matter of fact, there are people that had maybe 5.0 CGPA, and me, I was managing my first class. There are people that had higher CGPA than I did. There were people that had better work experiences than I did. There are people that had been, recognized so much in maybe the works they do and all that. And then this girl somewhere from Eche village in River State, Port Harcourt, is telling them that they should fund her against the other people, out of every other person. So now, something you need to put is, why should they, out of all these people, there are people that are more qualified than you are. Out of all these people in this entire world that applied for it, why should they fund you instead of these other people? You need to talk about it. Like, this was where I had to pour out my entire life to them and tell them why. Pouring out my entire life did not mean that, I had to start talking about how this happened, how blah, maybe how I cannot afford to pay for it or something. No, that's not pouring out my entire life. But my purpose, like what I'm set out to achieve, that was where I had to mention it. I had to tell them what I'm set out to achieve. And that was the place I made mention of that. So that was the thing that finally crowned it all and told them, okay, fund this girl, Jennifer Confidence, from Eche in River State, fund her instead of this other person. This is why you need to fund that. So I need to sell that myself and say, see, out of every other person, I'm the most qualified for you to fund. And the most qualification, talking about most qualification, is not about maybe academics or, but in terms of everything in general, and particularly what I'm set out to achieve. What I'm set out to achieve, not just my career. Career plans are different from what you are set out to achieve. And I can't tell you what you're set out to achieve. Do you grab? I can't tell you that. So you have a career plan of becoming an engineer or a solar engineer. Or yeah, is there anything like solar? I don't know. But yeah, you have a career aspiration to become that. But what exactly are you set out to achieve? That is where you need to talk about it. I can't tell you what it is, but this is the place where you need to mention that and this is what I'm set out to achieve. So if you found me, so now if you talk about that thing that you're set out to achieve, it means that if you found me, I will do this thing. This thing will ultimately come to play. So I can't really tell you what it is. So you need to show what makes you stand out as a candidate. This is where you need to show it. This is why I stand out as a candidate. And that is because you are now telling them what your mission is. Yes, I want to become a solar engineer, if there's anything like that. But what exactly? You need to show why they should fund you. And that is the place where you need to talk about not your ambition, but what you're set out to achieve. Do you grab? I hope this made sense though. But yeah, this is my little pet talk about SOP this morning. I talked about this like so passionately last night with my Kenyan viewers, Kenyan audience, and all that when I was with my Kenyan sister from my new friend. As a matter of fact, my Kenyan sister, who is the country rep for Erasmus Mundus, Kenya country rep for Erasmus Mundus Association. So I talked about it so passionately, and I'm like, I need to bring this back here. I need to talk to my live audience about this, and I hope this was really useful. So I'll go back now to answering the questions again. Can I use same reference later for different programs? Okay, so someone, Destiny Odo, is asking, can I use same reference later for different programs? My sister, I hope you girl. Okay, but if you're not, my brother, yeah. So I don't think that is wise because your reference later, any reference later that you are writing, if you've not seen my video on reference later, you need to watch it. Any reference later you are writing needs to contain the name of the program you're applying to, um, needs to contain some other, needs to corroborate your SOP. Yeah. So since you can't, the name of the program you're applying to would be on the SOP, on the reference letter rather, so you can't use it to apply for different ones. So some of these reference letters that you get are just blank reference letter where they just talk and she's a good girl, she's diligent, she's this. No, no, no. We don't need those SOP. If you're in this community, we don't need those reference letters, those type of reference. No, your reference letter needs to be intentional. It needs to be intentional. It needs, if you've not seen my video on reference letters, you need to search it on my channel. Like your reference letter needs to be intentional, where you need to talk about the referee will talk about, will have to make mention of the program you're applying to, would talk about you in terms of the capacity, they know you and for how long, and then they need to talk about some other relevant things that are relevant to the program you're applying to and that corroborates with the SOP you have written. So I wouldn't advise you to use the same reference letter because if with the tips I've given about reference letters, there are certain things them. And so at every point in time, like I've said about SOP, CV, and reference letter, it needs to be tweaked at every point in time. You can use the same referee, but it needs to be tweaked at every point in time, like to suit the program you're applying to. Please, if you're enjoying this video, like this video. You can also share it. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. So yeah, that's the response I can give, because here we want to do things excellently for it to give you a chance to get this scholarship. We want to do things excellently. We don't just want to do things that would leave you at a regular stand with other competitors for the scholarship. No, we want to do things that will set you aside, that will make you become exceptional. That's what we want to do in these live sessions, in this channel, and in this community and all that. So I wouldn't advise you to use the same reference letter, SOP or CV. So then praise that when you say all these plenty things for one page. See, the thing is, that's the thing. There's a whole lot you need to talk about in your SOP. After talking about this whole lot, it is now time for you to know how to shorten words. For you to know how to use it, it is strategy. So you need to know how to shorten your words, how to make, yes, you have a long sentence. Uh, you want to say something like, yesterday, Nkechi came to my house. Also, Joy came to my house. Again, as Michael came to my house. You can just simply say, yesterday, Nkechi, Michael, and Joy came to my house instead of doing it like that. So you need to be smart about it. There's a way you rephrase your words to make it shorter and all that. As a matter of fact, I'm even struggling to rephrase my thesis proposal. So I'm still, paraphrasing it and trying to make sure it works. That's what I was doing this morning before I started this live video. So my brother, my sister, you can do it. You grab. It's not something that difficult. You can do it. Then Favor Chukuma is asking, please do I have to upload my reference letters myself, or can my lecturer upload for me? Lecturers in my school are all bent on not giving us the reference letter but uploading themselves. I think I don't know why lecturers from your school would do that, but I think it all depends on what the consortium requires. Do you grab what the consortium require? What does the consortium require? Some consortium will say, don't upload by yourself. Send us the referees details. We'll contact them. Some others will give you option of either they will contact them or you can upload it by yourself. But what I would always advise, hmm, take my advice. Take my advice, because I've seen some reference letters that finally came to plan. I'm like, some of these referees, take my advice. If you have an option of uploading it yourself, please upload yourself. Tell the lecturer or your referee. Because if your referee likes you, or is really somebody that can be your referee, not just any random person, if it's somebody that can be your referee, they should be willing to do as you want. You grab. So upload it by so that you'll be able to see what the person has written on your behalf. So that they won't go crucify you before you even see what what they've written for you. So you need to see it. You need to see it. If it's something that you need to see it, and also it I'm not really even though like I am quite confident with my referees to upload, good things and all that, but I most times would prefer them sending it to me. At least all the applications I've done, I can upload it by myself, and it's really important for me. And also because I've seen some reference letters and I'm like, this person does not just like this student. She's God fearing, she's smart, she's this, that for a scholarship. Like, it does not just gel, it does not just make sense. Like, the reference letter needs to be intentional. You need to, what reference letters are, it's not those ones God fearing, nobody cares. Like, the heck, nobody cares about whether you're God fearing or you're not, whether you're is it a Christian, Muslim, or atheist. Like, nobody really cares. So the reference letter needs to be intentional, needs to show that I know this person, I know the course that the person is applying to, not just writing to whom it may concern. You need to be really intentional. I know the course that the person is applying. During undergraduate, she was the student union president. She was a student union, so it is confirming that she was the student union president. So, like, just like I said that I was, a president. So my lecturer should be able to confirm that, or some other things that I've written that they know. My referee should be able to confirm that, because they should know you are my referee. So for me, that's why I don't just use random people. There are people that I always communicate with. We always talk once in a while. We call, we talk. There's one we always chat and all that. Like, we talk, and he's like, my daughter, how far? I say, I'm fine, sir. Okay, I want you to do this. I say, yes, sir, I'm going to do it and all that. So you don't just use random people and they'll fall your hands at the end of the day. Then another thing is someone is asking, should I have to add my MBA in my CV or I shouldn't do that? Your MBA, you can add it. It depends on what you're applying to. You can actually add it. There's really no big deal. You can actually add it. Except maybe you're applying to another MBA. Because yeah, if you're not applying to another MBA, to be like, you have MBA, why you apply for another MBA? Because obviously it might be almost the same thing that they will be teaching you. So yeah, except maybe that's not the question you're asking. How to pass an interview. Ahmad Hamdi is asking how to pass an interview. I have two videos on how to pass an interview. So just check my channel, search my channel, and you're going to find videos on how to pass an interview, how to prepare, and how to answer, and things like that. I have two videos on that. And then another thing is someone is asking, Saliu Raji is asking, my course is to be studied in three different countries. My question is that which of the countries will one settle down in after the programs, after the master's program? See, that one self should not be your worry for now. You can almost, depending on the visa you have, you can settle in any of them. Like for me, the visas that I have in all these three countries I've been to, I can settle in any of them. So it depends. There were some people that I came to the UK with that they can't just expressly settle, except maybe they get a job and all that. But for me, with the new UK regulations and all that, even previously, all I needed to do was to get a job in the UK and all that. But with the new UK this thing now, I can, even apply for an extended visa and all that without even a job and all that. So it just depends. So for now, don't be bothered about country you want to settle in, or whether you want to come back home, or whether you don't want to come back home. Don't just be bothered at getting the scholarship first. That's the most important thing. If you're just joining us, please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Like this video if it's been useful and helpful to you. Please like this video. The uh Ahmad Hamdi is also asking, the interview is designed to explore candidates' motivation to study on the program, different course, assess consistency of their project with the program's objective, evaluate their critical thinking skills. Yeah, basically that's what it's all about. Basically, that's what it's all about. So what you need to do, your motivation letter or your SOP, you're the person that wrote it. So you should know so much about it. You should know so much about it. You should be confident in your SOP. You should be confident in your skills, your ability, what you're supposed to do, like what you can offer. You should be confident in it. Like in most of these interviews, it's not anything serious. Just go and watch my videos on the two interviews that I made, like interview videos. It's not anything, that serious and all that. Be confident about it. Relate with them. See, then go relate with you like normal. They will relate with you like regular, on a regular, should I say, it will just be a friendly interview. Don't think so much about it. Don't be dejected about it. Just see my video on interviews. I can't say that much about it because we spend so much time. So just go